Today we're going to make a take on the classic po' boy sandwich from New Orleans. It was created in the late 1920s during a strike, and a restaurant owner decided to make some sandwiches for the poor boys, and that got brought down to po' boy. It is traditionally, a combination of breaded fried shrimp with remoulade sauce, tomatoes, lettuce, pickle and other lovely things that you want to add in. Today I'm going to make a slightly healthier version, so we're going to just do it with some cold cooked crayfish meat and a lovely remoulade sauce, so very sort of tangy Creole flavours. So really simple. It's going to be absolutely lovely. To start with, we have to make a remoulade sauce. It's part of the appeal of this sandwich. Classic in the southern states of the USA, big part of Creole cooking. You see it a lot as a dipping sauce, especially with like little crab cakes, that sort of stuff. So great one to keep in the fridge. It's like a sort of slightly spicy, smoky tartar sauce, I would say. We have approximately 200 grams of mayo, and we're just going to pop that into a large mixing bowl. It's a little bit messy, there we go. And then we've got a nice selection of bits and pieces here. I have got about 50 grams of chopped up mini cornichon gherkin. That's going to go in there too. A couple of tablespoons of capers, roughly chopped. And then going to add about a tablespoon of, this is roasted garlic. You can use raw garlic if you want to as well, just chopped up, but this has been roasted in the oven. Just wrap a whole bulb in tin foil, pop it in the oven at about 200 degrees centigrade for about 20 minutes until it gets soft. Let it cool down, squidge out the bulbs. Really handy to have in the fridge, and you can freeze it. So let's see if I can get that in. Almost. I'm going to give it a little scrape. And then here we've got a tablespoon of Dijon mustard. Get that in as well. I normally use a whole lemon, but I'm going to start with half a lemon today, see how we go. Again, it's a taste thing, and it's very much down to what you like, what you don't like. And then for the spicy stuff. So cayenne pepper, one of the key kind of hot ingredients in Creole food. And I'm actually going to add about half a tablespoon, maybe slightly less. Again, sort of less is more, and you can always add a bit more if you want to. So that in that goes. And then we've got some smoked paprika. So I'm going to add in a kind of good, let's say, tablespoon of that. And then the last ingredient in here is going to be some chopped dill. I'm just going to grab some fresh dill out of my herb trug. And obviously if you don't like dill, sort of, you know, kind of tends to be a bit of a unique flavour, you can always add in parsley or something else. Yeah, just something soft and herby, it's quite nice. So a couple of tablespoons of that, maybe a equivalent of a small handful, I'd say. I am going to add a little black pepper to it as well, because that's always nice, but I'm not going to add any salt at this point. Might give it a taste and go from there. And that's it. It's really that simple. Give it a little taste. Grab a clean spoon. Spicy enough for me. I'm going to add a little bit more paprika. I think it can do with that. So another teaspoon. There we go, remoulade sauce. Pop it into a little jar, stick it in the fridge. Keep it for a week, couple of weeks at least, if not a bit longer. So first thing first, I'm going to show you quickly how to get the meat out, nice and easy. Okay, here we go. So these are the lovely little critters here. Size-wise, much larger than people think. Now, the difference is really with them is either to just go for the tail or to take off the claw as well. And you can see that there is quite a big difference in the size of the claws on some of them. So I would say always do that with the bigger ones. There's quite a lot of meat, probably as much meat if not more in the claws of the bigger ones than there is in the tail. Flatten them out, grab the head, not too hard, there's lots of little spiky bits on them, and then you're going to push it in towards the tail, twist, you'll hear a little click, and pull it out, get rid of those bits there. And then what I tend to do is just take off the ring of cartilage at the top, just to release off a good piece of the meat to grab hold of. Squidge and pinch the tail, and then gently start to maneuver it out. Sometimes you'll get it out in one go, sometimes it'll be a bit fiddly, but normally they don't come out too badly. All right, and then for the shell, I'm going to break it off here, and then the first thing to do is just remove the longer, thinner claw. If you pull that sideways, it comes off really easily, and then there's a tiny bit of cartilage that you want to get rid of just there. Otherwise that sort of ends up in someone's mouth, it could be a little unpleasant, so make sure that that's come out with it. And then what you want to do is just crack the shell. I'm going to look for an implement in here. Sometimes I use a spoon, sometimes they're soft enough to do it with your hands, absolutely fine, or a nut cracker, they're quite good too. So all I'm going to do is just lower that onto the shell and then just give it a quick squidge and let it crack open, and then it's just a case of just gently and patiently opening up the shell. Sometimes the claw will come out whole, sometimes not, but as we're going into a sandwich, it doesn't really matter too much. And I'm just going to use something a little pointy, just to slide it in gently so I can pull all that meat out. Pop that over with my tail, and then let's have a look. I'll try it with this one as well. So again, long one, whoop, pull it open, cartilage out, something to protect your hand a bit, squidge it, see if we can gently prise open the shell and then pop out. Cool. There we go. Done. Okay, so to start with, we have some of the remoulade sauce that we made earlier, and as I said, it's a bit like a spicy, smoky tartar sauce, so it goes really, really well with seafood. And here we've just got some prepped crayfish meat chopped up. Then we are going to just stir through some of this remoulade sauce into our crayfish. How much you add, personal choice really, but think prawn cocktail and then kind of add the same amount. And then we are going to slice open some bread. I've just got a nice fresh baguette here. Slice it lengthways. I'm not going to put any butter in it, and I think that again is a personal choice. I think that, you know, the mayo is enough, and I'm going to make a couple of them, so I'm just going to do that. Pop that to one side, and then simply going to chop up a couple of tomatoes and slice up some lettuce. So really, really simple. I'm going to use a bread knife to do this, partly because it's there and I've used it already, but also actually when you're chopping up tomatoes, the serrated blade is often a lot easier, as they can be a little bit slippery, so you can get quite good purchase with the serrated edged knife, especially if you haven't got like super sharp chef's knives around the place. Pop some tomato in, pop in some lettuce, bring that over here now, move all that mess over to one side, a bit more tomato at the end, pop over some of our crayfish, close it up gently, nice messy hands. slice it in half. There we go.